Alrighty, we're pleased to have on today from Toronto, Ontario, a Canadian television anchor, longtime radio host on Sirius XM Radio Channel 91. Been covering sports for over 20 years. After all that, we're pleased to have on today. I'm really excited for this one. Steve Kouleas.
Drew, how are you? Glad to be here. What's happening?
Not a whole lot. Like I was just saying off the record, we know we got home last night late, 3 a.m. So long road trip home, and the boys, no, none of that. The boys split the weekend, so I was happy with that. It's a tough road trip going on the road, but yeah, no, I'm exhausted, but I was not missing this one today.
How is it? I mean, everyone who loves and knows junior hockey, there's nothing like it. I was on the buses with Mark Savard and Drew and Jeff Ware, John Tripp, Stan Butler, and did the Generals play-by-play. To go to the small town Ontario, you go to Western Canada. It's great. It's a great life experience, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I joined, Carrot River, Saskatchewan, Prince Albert. I mean, we play at a Pilot Butte, Saskatchewan, 10 minutes outside Regina. So, the guys like it, and we got guys from all around the province on our team. So for them to see new rinks, and it's always fun for sure. It's nothing better than getting on the bus and traveling with your teammates and the boys. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I love it. Hockey. What would we do without it? People don't get it. The other sports don't get it. They don't get it. It's just in the blood. It's in the blood. People say hockey, family, country. That's how we believe in that order, almost. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're not insulting our families. We're saying this matters too much. This
Absolutely.
Sport, right?
All right, Steve. Okay, I want to first, before that I said, I want to mention I appreciate coming on. I was super excited that it's hard to get you big dogs on these shows, and I appreciate you coming on. So, first, how are things with you? What's going on? What's up?
Well, year 7 at Sirius XM. The radio business has been very good for lifestyle and family, and probably even security too. Let's be honest. The Bell and Rogers machines have taken a hit over the last few years, so it's good to be kind of under the league umbrella, and instead of kind of, getting home at 3 a.m. and getting up at noon, it's good to be home in the hockey basement, just watching hockey with a few cold Sapporos now. I think looks like I'm making a connection with these guys. So I'm gonna let them know how much I love them. The big boys, they've already been accounted for, but so it's great. I got 2 daughters in university. The oldest one is almost done. So it's the reality of the real world as a young conservative. And my other daughter's at Guelph, and she's playing well as a Sam Girard defenseman, undersized. Nice. And they got a great team, great coaching staff. Scott Driscoll, the former NHL linesman of over 1,000 games, is on the bench. He's one of the coaches of the team. So the connections are unbelievable. Like, again, small town, drive to the games, watch the games, hockey. So it's good. My wife's a superstar. She does everything around here. I pass her the tools and she fixes things. So she's Mrs. Chips, and very blessed and lucky. Looking forward to Christmas. And it's hockey around the clock, my friend Drew. I love it.
No kidding. Well, I want to bring this up because we talked about it off the record, and I hear it every day on the radio. I thought you were kidding. You come home, if you watch games, you'll record and watch all the games and get all your notes for the week.
Yep, and I run the games the way they would run at the time. So last night I went to the Guelph game. They played Waterloo, lost 4-3. Waterloo might be the best team in the nation. I come back home and I actually hit the 6:30 button. I taped Hockey Central, and I was watching that, and then I fast forwarded. It didn't have my attention. Sorry, guys. So I went right to 7 o'clock and then started watching the game, and then that whole thing, and that leads into overtime in the Jets game. Shifley scores. Overtime in the Detroit game. Larkin scores. So at that point, my clock is really 12:42, but it's 9:43 in the video world. And then I see the Larkin goal. I see that. Then I hit play on the Vegas Vancouver, and I'm watching that 2-2. Vegas wins 7-4. Now I can open up the laptop on some other notes because I want to feel how I don't want to just go to the highlights. Yeah. So then I do that because people say, Dave Reed was on the other day and he was talking to people at NHL Network, and he says, what you see is what you get. Like, this isn't a facade. When I take an assist away from a player like Troy Terry, it's not anything against Troy Terry. Yeah. It was an unassisted goal, right? On the play, Ryan O'Reilly or whoever, David Perron falls down, passes the puck to Sonny Milano, he scores. They gave 2 assists. I'm watching the Watchers, Jerry. I'm watching the Watchers. And then they take it away. The league takes it away. I know what the league office are probably going, they're fucking Kouleas or whatever. Hey, everyone needs to watch. Everyone needs to pay attention. I love the X's and O's, the rules, the passion, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, thank God I'm a country boy. Loving
No
the game.
kidding. That's unbelievable. I love it. Well, we can't have people getting all those chiseled points. So I see it enough around here. So that's a good call. I like that one. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, Steve, let's I always do this on this podcast. You know, we're almost at episode 100. This is crazy. It's if you would ask me this 98 episodes ago if I'd be here, no chance. So I'm appreciating all the great guests. So you today, again, another one. Let's talk about growing up in the GTA area, Toronto, hobbies, sports, what we up to as a young Steve Kouleas.
Well, my memory begins when I was 4 and we had a party at our house, and it was the Summit Series was on. So this was September 2nd. This is when I remember it was packed. Smoke, Rothman cigarettes filled the air, Molson Stock Ale, stubby bottles. And, you know, I was born in Canada. My parents weren't. They came but just fell in love with hockey. They just did what everybody else was doing and they loved it. It was soccer on ice, but way more entertaining and way more physical and less flopping. Oh, we get flopping now, but we never had flopping back then. And I fell in love with the game. This is what the kids on the street were playing. And, you know, Phil Esposito and Bobby Clark and, you know, Ken Dryden, Tony Esposito, God rest his soul, all that stuff. And Yvon Cornway, who I thought I'd be like because I was small and fast, I thought. And I just fell in love with the game, started playing road hockey, which led to real hockey. And that's where I met friends. Like if someone's not associated with playing hockey, like I have no friends outside of hockey. I'm not friends with John Smith and he doesn't like hockey. And talk to the hand.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. So that's how it started. Obviously, I wanted to grow up and be captain of an NHL team. And if that didn't work, broadcasting, Foster Hewitt, you know, Dave Hodge, all that stuff. So I put all my eggs in that basket. My dad had a furniture store. I didn't want to sell furniture. I didn't want to repair furniture. I didn't want to do anything with furniture. The furniture store did well. Thank God, Dad, you did that. And then he went to Moscow for the Summit Series. So he was there for games 5, 6, 7, and 8. Wow. I watched it with my mom after morning kindergarten, and it was great. And I said, well, what's next? And they said, the National Hockey League. So I've been a fan of the league ever since I was 4. And everything I've done, whether it's trips, whether it's going to Ryerson for broadcasting, whether it was trying to play, whether it's my career, has always centered, Spengler Cup has always centered around the game of hockey. That was my life as a first-generation immigrant in Scarborough, Ontario. And now I live in Whitby, Ontario. Joe Newendike, Gary Roberts, I don't leave anybody out. The Foots, James Neal, my buddy, he's a neighbor, lives down the street. He doesn't live there, his house is empty. What else is down here? All that type of connection. Cole Perfetti now. Brooklyn, right up the street. So we have a little hockey factory going on here.
That's awesome. I love it. And I love your passion too. Unbelievable. Let's go. Okay, so you mentioned playing hockey a little bit. Did you play at a high enough level there, Steve, or no? Did you play high?
My dad, he worked all the time. That's what you got to do. The furniture store was open 6 days a week. And then back in the day, Sunday shopping was new. You know, people wanted Sunday shopping. So then he had to stay open. So he literally was open every day. Right.
Yeah.
And he was there every day. My grandfather helped him. Maybe an appointment or something, he would leave. He did come when I was playing in Cedar Hill, when I was playing at a young age. So he came Saturdays when he could to watch me play, saw me score my first goal for Highland Farms. I was just house league, but I was behind what back then we used to say the English kids. That's just what people said. So, and with my olive skin, so I was kind of different, you know what I mean? So, but I was catching up. And then I caught him kind of at high school, played high level high school hockey was big here. And that gave me tryouts to what is now provincial junior A, but was junior B. Vaughan Kings or Raiders it was. Wexford junior B was big. That's Stan Butler's team. He had a dynasty. What now would be provincial junior A, which is great. Tier 2, the OG they call it. So I played some exhibition games there. And then I was scouted for my high school team, Ryerson, Canadian College, and they recruited me. I was going to Ryerson anyway. So I played my first year there. And the problem was there was no synergy between school and classes. And back to my immigrant story, my dad was paying. I was failing. My English teacher said, "You're failing." I said, "Yeah, but I'm playing hockey." And she said, "What's hockey going to get you?" Probably nothing. You're
Yeah.
here for broadcasting, right? Like she was she never even got up. She was like 3 feet high, but that resonated with me. And I would have loved to play second and third year and maybe been the captain and gone out and all that stuff too. There was just no synergy. Like practice is at 11 o'clock at night and an English class at 8 in the morning. And I, to save money, stayed at home and commuted with my dad. So the sad part was I had to, okay, you know what? No more hockey at high level and then to work. So from Ryerson right to TSN in 4 days after graduating. And I've been working ever since.
Wow, that's wild. So that leads to my next question. Getting into the business of journalism and broadcasting, was it TSN first job right away?
So I volunteered at Scarborough Cable, those community access channels, and literally like Wayne's World, it was like that. I was the host of the Thursday night sports talk show, and I got Mark Hebscher and Paul Tracy as a guest, and Paul was an up-and-comer back then, and I was, I followed him. He's from Scarborough. I'm from Scarborough. He was just a nerdy, kind of chubby kid. And our producer back there, Roland Borchford, who's probably I give the most credit to for making it. We did stories on people from Scarborough. Oh, Rick Tockett's coming to town. Peter Zezel. We'll get these guys, and we did show. What we did there was really amazing, and I kind of miss it. So at Ryerson, I pushed TSN. I pushed, and I said, "Well, what year are you in?" I said, "First year, first day. Talk to us in year 3." I stayed on them. I stayed on them. And finally, they probably said, "We're going to hire this guy to shut him up." I wrote my last exam April 27th. I was 22. On May 1st, I started TSN full-time, and I've been full-time TSN Score, back to TSN, Sirius XM, and a whole bunch of other freelance things in between.
That's unbelievable. That's awesome. Well, the passion is there, and that's what I want to ask next. Like, was there, like, obviously there's a passion right away. Like, you love the game. I hear it every day. Like, you don't, there's not a day that I listen, you're like, so the NHL last night was a lot of fun, and all right, Obi, what do you think? Like, you know what I mean? Like you're always into it. Even you're talking to a plumber right now, like me, and you're into it. So the passion was there. I mean, walk us through that.
Well, I think that's from playing. So I don't think I ever had. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 games, and my grandfather took me to, God rest his soul, most of my games, that he was ever disappointed in effort or whatever. So I just said, they're coming to watch and whatever, you give it your all. And when the red light goes on, it's showtime. It's go time. The puck goes in the corner with a 6'4" defenseman. I'm getting that puck or I'm going to die trying. So when the red light's on, somebody could list for the first time. So you give it your all. And that's what it came from playing. You play ball hockey, you drop, puck goes into the corner or, car or whatever. When it starts, it's go. Like, I'm not here for fooling around here. Fun is winning and competing and trying your hardest. It's okay to lose, but how did you lose? You lose because you didn't try, because you weren't on to. It's one thing if you were banged up or you're sick or whatever, but the idea is it's go time and it's show time. Imagine even coming on here like this. Yeah, Drew, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a guy that's way before your time that I would watch because he was retiring as I started in delivering the newspaper, Toronto Sun, was Johnny Carson. And Johnny Carson was a brilliant entertainer and showman. And he would say to people in documentaries afterwards, do the people who come on my show understand that it's showtime? Like, they get a big actor. And like a guy like Robin Williams would come on and be Robin Williams and he'd be great. Or others would come on and almost act like the red light's not on. And Johnny Carson would say later, listen, yeah. You're on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, coast to coast, 30 million viewers. It's go and showtime all the time. So if you're going to go on, you're going to perform.
Absolutely.
And not fake perform. If you are, I know most people are who they really are. So if it's go time and showtime, that's what you do it. So what I stem from is the ready, 3, 2, 1, the red light's on, it's go. And when the puck drops, it's go. Anything else, I have no time for that. So when I see laziness, with a hockey player or something, I understand execution. There's effort and execution. Let's not confuse effort. 3 games in 4 nights, the gas tank's empty. The guy's trying, that's different. Execution's different, right? Effort is unacceptable. And that's what I say with my kids. I never had a problem with my younger daughter, Jessica. Jack, at times, she was a little McGillney. It was, wow, what a goal. And then, So with her, I had to stay on her a little bit more. But I think when you're on, the respect, I would, there'd be no respect if I didn't respect you or my listeners by not showtime is go time. And I hope that's a good answer to your question.
That's a great, I might cut that for my team. Not that my team doesn't do that, but I mean, it's perfect though, because I mean, like showing up and being ready to go, whether it's hockey or a job or you're a teacher, if you just walk out and be like, all right, guys, great day today. We have class all day. Well, like there's nothing there, right? Like, how does the energy feed off that too, right? Especially when you're leading it, no one's gonna care, right? So I think a lot of energy coming from the other side. The other side too is right. So, no, great point. Steve, Toronto, GTA area. Are you a Leafs fan growing up?
I'm neutral on the air, as you know, Drew. I'm neutral on the air. Everyone, Bob, I worked with Bob Costas during the ALCS, J's and A's. I was lucky to get that job. I was in Ryerson. I was working at Skydome, which was all the visiting teams they gave them a crew. Here's your, they brought their own, usually director, producer, but to save money for visiting teams, the Skydome had a beautiful broadcast studio, and they wanted to have everything you need. Oh, you need this, you need a stats guy, you need a camera guy. They had everything for them. So I got in luckily with a friend of mine, John Johnson was his name, and he was great. He was at Ryerson together. He got hired first, and they said, oh my God, we need a stats guy. He phoned me, the old rotary, you guys don't know, phone, oh, busy, I got to call him back. Phone me, Steve, I don't care what you're doing tomorrow. Be at the Skydome, June 5th, opening of the Skydome at 10 o'clock. They need a stats guy. Bring your calculator and a notepad. What am I doing? You're working for Milwaukee Brewers. Okay. So I go down there. I meet Bob Uecker, their broadcast crew, and they say, Steve, baseball? And back then I did. And he said, yep, you're the stats guy. And I said, okay. And I had some things I prepared anyway, but the Blue Jays and the Brewers and stuff like that. I actually brought a program from one of my first baseball games, Milwaukee Brewers, $1 program. Sixto Lezcano was on the cover, so they were impressed with that. And Bob Uecker, he loved me, and he just so I'm giving you, back then you have a notepad, you have your notes, and like this, you got your notes. So it's you write a note, and you give it to him. Yep, you give it to him. He looks at it, he might use it or not, and then he says, the roof takes 20 minutes to open here at the Skydome and cannot be opened without the umpire's consent. And they're like, Bob, that's great stuff. Where'd you get that? And he goes, well, I just prepared before. And he looks at me, winks like, because he's with the guy on the air, the play-by-play guy, and he's doing it. And then when it was over, he said, kid, we'll see you tomorrow. And it was huge money back then, like $15 an hour when I was 21, $150 guaranteed 10-hour day.
Wow.
Back then in the day. So I was like, oh, I'll be here with bells on. And then so that's kind of how I started doing some freelance work and being involved. But Bob Costas, when I met him, he said, let's be honest, we're all fans. If you're not a fan, forget it. The key is you're harder on your own team and you don't wave the flag. So I've been harder. I admit it. Everyone's a fan. We all know secretly that we are. And of course I was. I went to games. I lined up on the street for tickets, all that kinds of stuff. So put it this way. If Canada's playing the U.S., do you think the Canadian media is not cheering for Team Canada? The U.S. media is not cheering for the States? Give me a break. So it's about how you evaluate, articulate, and stay neutral or harder on your team than ever. So, yeah, I mean, the Sittlers, Salmings, McDonald's, the Gilmore era. I was at Borshevsky's game. The Borshevsky scores! Borshevsky, can you believe it? The Leafs have won it. They've upset the Red Wings and Steve Yzerman. Oh, baby. Bob Cole, like I was at that game with my buddy Brian Mack, my best friend. And and I went to as many as you could go to because there's nothing like being at the game live. So that was special. The 80s were tough. I mean, it was pretty bad. And that was kind of my high school and era. But it's great. And it was a lot of fun.
See, I used to be a big Detroit fan, and like it helped that Joey played. Like Joey played there, and they were good, and like the way they, obviously with no salary cap at the time, they had guys like Shanny and all those guys like Chelly, Lindstrom. The list goes on, but I don't know what it is now. Maybe when I used to scout for ISS, International Scouting Service, so we would do all the NHL rankings, and it was tough for like, I felt like, okay, I'm listing this guy to be picked in the top 10, right? So. But I'm a Wings fan. How do you become a fan when you're not working for a team, but you're working for the lead essentially. Like you're putting guys in certain spots. So I always felt it tough to be a fan still. I mean, obviously at the end of the day, I still like the team. I like the color. I've always loved the Wings, and then it didn't help that they got shitty for a few years. So, but so not, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan, but I mean, I love the game though. Love it. But I also watch hockey more so for all the teaching tools, power plays, PK systems. And I use a lot of video just for learning the game. But
yeah.
Anyhow, okay. I want to chat about who do you like this year? Stanley Cup already. Who's hot? Who's not? What do you like? Let's get into the thick of things here, the NHL.
Well, until we see Vegas at their full capacity, I mean, they're looking good now. They've overcome woe is me from their 1-4 start. A Stone return last night looked good. So Vegas on March 1st will be wow, right? Eichel, Stone, Pacioretty, first line, the expansion line, Stevenson on the third line. It's there. I think at that point we're going to really find out what they're all about. So we won't judge them until then. But in the meantime, they got over woe is me, and they've reeled off. I think they're 7-2 now in their last 9 after their slow start. So when everyone's back, I don't see how they're not the class of the West.
Yeah.
And Colorado is like, they're show me. It's McKinnon's slow start and hurts. A lot of injuries. Bo Byram, I love him. Too bad about the elbow from Bo Horvat the other day. So I think the Avalanche are going to have to prove. Vegas might have to go through Edmonton, which I would like to think the Oilers are going to. Vegas, Edmonton, second round. Someone's going to cry and someone's going to be sky high. Like I'm kind of parking that to say if Edmonton or Vegas is one of them is 2. Like if it's a 1-4, oh boy. If Edmonton wins the division against Vegas as the 4 because they've had all those guys out the whole year. Holy crap, Batman, like that. So either team doesn't want to meet in the first round, but if they meet in the second, like that's old school Smythe division, Calgary, Edmonton.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, the team that wins that, Drew, is going to think, oh my God. Where Colorado's got St. Louis, I still like. People haven't given them respect. Minnesota, Winnipeg, Colorado, Nashville's playing well. That's a more smorgasbord. Like that's still good stuff in there. It's so hard to win. It's so hard to win one round. You need to win your first round, look around, and have 8 teams left. So the drama that we're going to get in these playoffs, and I know it's November, but oh my God, like this is going to be unbelievable. So I have a tougher time picking who comes out of the Central. I'd like to say who wins the Pacific, which could be Edmonton. I mean, playoffs, not regular season. Whoever wins that second round series will go all the way to the Cup final because until Colorado proves it. In the East, Florida's going to have to show me still. I like them. Tampa's banged up. They're not as good as last year. I think the Atlantic is open. Boston's worse. Are the Islanders for real? Is Carolina for real? I think that there's more parity in the East and more favorites in the West. If I had to just guess right now and I'm going to make a safe bet and bet on Vegas. Because do the Oilers have the goaltending? Is their defense deep enough? Can you go from winning no playoff series to winning 4? Whereas Vegas is kind of heartbreak. And Eichel will help their 4 for 43 power play. Eichel and the Lemieux. You talk about, X's and O. You hear it on my show. And I say something sometimes to some of my guests, the NHLers, and I can hear them Googling. I'm thinking, you don't know about power play breakout? We got the double drop back. We got the wingers on the side. Now we're in. When we drop back, when Marner gets the Riley drop back, Marner has it. Matthews can either go behind him or they attack 2-on-1. So when the F1 attacks Marner, he passes to Matthews. Then they go Matthews. Matthews backhands it to Tavares. He goes in. He can rim it or he does the Gretzky delay. You guys don't know this stuff?
Yeah.
Are you 1-3 through the neutral zone at least they're doing a soft diamond right now where if Camp is up, then 78 and 8 are up. Or one winger's up, 1D is back. So they're now doing like that's right before the.
Yeah.
What are you talking, Drew? What are you talking about? I'm saying, hey man, I know a lot of my colleagues. I know colleagues that don't have any idea. I have one colleague that still says playing the point in the power play. No, that forward doesn't play the point. It's a 1-3-1. 1 defenseman, 4 forwards, 1-3-1. And who invented the 1-3-1? We've done it for about 10. Who invented it? I'm asking NHL coaches. That's your homework assignment. I'm guessing it was like in the Swiss Tier 2 league. It was a lockout of 2013. Some North American coach or whatever then came back and it started to evolve, and everybody uses the same power play now, and power play numbers have never been higher. I love talking about that stuff because when I was 10 or 12, I didn't get it. I didn't know it, and then now that we see the evolving of the game and we can discuss it, but if someone doesn't know, you can't talk to someone about plumbing when they don't know what a wrench is. Yeah. And I like that I know that aspect of the game as you do, because it started with Steve Ludzik and Chris King and Kay Whitmore and Craig Button and Mike Johnson and Mark Osborne and all those guys. And then, you build and understand 2-on-1. We are in a kids for your guys in the dressing room. 2-on-1. We are in a fake shot pass Royal Road league. What used to be Bossy would shoot and score. We wind up now, if they take that pass away, we don't force the pass, then I'm allowed to shoot. If I shoot there, the odds are 7.5% you'll score. The second you pass it over the Royal Road, you go up 30%. So the receiver of the 2-on-1 has a 30% better chance of scoring than you do shooting at your spot. So don't be selfish. And if you are a left-handed shot here and a right-handed shot here, those odds are even higher. So I don't force a square pass round hole across. But if it's there, you wind up, the defenseman and goalie bites, goalie goes down, you send it over, backdoor goal. That's the league we are in. Royal Road, look it up. Steve Kouleas, great stuff. That's the math behind why I pass on the 2-on-1. Not selfish. Kids, is it me or is it we? Who are you playing for? Me or we? Royal Road passing is we hockey, which is winning hockey.
Well, Steve, I'm just trying to get my guys to shoot far pad right now. I'm 2-on-1. Yeah, no, that is right.
That's the last resort. Far pad. I look at the pass. I look at shooting to score. Now I'm not feeling this, and I'm going far pad. So that's all pass, part of which is my play. Which is my play. Pass, shoot, pass off pad. Like all those options,
Hey, I wanted to ask. Okay, so you mentioned it earlier, the Oilers, and obviously we all know that they're winning games and they're really playing with some success. They have two of the best players in the game, I think, right now. But you mentioned it. Do they have the goaltending to do this thing? But I really don't see it. I just don't. I'm not a Carson fan. I don't see it. Like Skinner, I watched for years in the Western League down here in Swift Current when he played, and I just don't know if Carson is the guy for them.
Yeah, I wonder if at the trade deadline, the Oilers look around, Ken Holland looks around, and he sees, depending on the team and who's there, that he says, you know what? Now, I'll throw a name up as an example. Maybe it's Jonathan Quick, right? And he tells Smitty, listen, we love you, but we're going to play both of you down the stretch. Koskinen has to go to even the money, right? And Koskinen's then expired. That 3-year deal, Chiarelli signed over. The Kings have to make a decision, and it would also be, I'm not saying it's Yamamoto. It's going to, the Oilers have prospects. It could be a first-round pick, but, the Kings with Quick, they're moving on. He's 35, right? He'll be 36.
Yeah, he's not 30 yet.
$5 million. But at that point, it'll be 1.25 on the cap. But because Koskinen goes and he's at 4, it's a doable trade. So now it's Quick for 2 years. I'm using that as an example. I'm using Quick
Not a
as
bad
an
example.
Well, and then we could look over and you can look at other teams. Like say Phillies, they're good now, but the Metro's so tight. Say they start dropping off. The call goes to Fletcher, and you say, how about Martin Jones? And you get Martin. I'm gonna say Martin Jones is the be all end all. You're not, if the Leafs fell out of it, maybe you get Peter Mrazek, but he's got 2 years left, 3.8. I'm saying it's there's a lot of goalies out there.
What about
right?
Fleury? Does Fleury get moved?
Okay, Fleury, Chicago's already shit the bed. Fleury is a big ticket, but then 7.5 would be like $2 million. You send money back, or what? You have to send Koskinen back, which would help. So Fleury, for contenders who don't believe they've got a good goalie, is a gamble, but probably a lesser gamble because Chicago will trade Marc-Andre Fleury this year for sure. The experiment hasn't worked. He hasn't done well, so you have to believe, do I believe in Fleury? Well, the Quick cost is higher. Maybe Quick doesn't want to leave. Maybe the Kings don't want to trade him. Maybe the Kings are saying, we're in a playoff spot. Why would we trade Jonathan Quick? So Fleury is not played well in front of a terrible defense. Has he really just lost it? Or do you think if you're now an Oiler fan, do you feel better going in the playoffs with Koskinen and Smith or Fleury and Smith? And you say, Smitty, it's yours. And then if Smitty falters, you at least have Fleury at a respectable, cheaper price. And I'm just kind of picking teams and looking at goalies. Like if Freddie's for real in Carolina, Antti Ranta's also hurt, maybe it's Antti Ranta. But then Carolina's going to want a goalie. Yeah. So are they really going to trade Antti Ranta? Probably not. The Islanders and Rangers have two goalies that are untouchable. Like if you want Georgiev,
Rangers goalie,
right? Shesterkin's not going anywhere. If you want Georgiev, you're going to have to pay. Like it's going to cost you. Varlamov and Sorokin is a great 1-2 punch. The Islanders aren't trading those goalies. So the Capitals need help. You know, what are you going to do? Let's just say that Fucale after one game is good enough to be the backup. Do you want Vanacek or Samsonov? I think they still believe in Samsonov. Maybe Vanacek's available. So you go get them. You understand? So I'm going through every team. Buffalo, would you want Craig Anderson at 40 and Mike Smith at 40 as your two goalies? Well, Anderson's played pretty good this year, but he gets hurt a lot. And Smith gets hurt. So you have two goalies there. So if I'm going through 32 teams and 64 goalies, so is Ken Holland. So I brought Quick up only because Dennis Bernstein, our LA guy, said the Kings could really flip Quick for something. Yeah. Like if Quick is this good, they could get something for him. And Cal Peterson's the future anyway. So that's how I would look at the goalie situation, Drew, for the Edmonton Oilers. And if I'm doing it, I know my buddy Ken Holland. Congratulations, Hall of Fame. Ken Holland is doing it as well.
Yeah, he's a legend. Okay, last one here, and then I want to talk some golf and then do our questions for the gallery. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you're a busy guy. Again, this question is for the Leaf listeners. Is this a team that can get where they want to be? You know, the all or nothing last year didn't go as planned. Can they get out? Can they get in the playoffs? Can they win around? Can they get something?
Well, I think they're going to make the playoffs. I'd like to think even the money puck analysis here is that they'd be in that 83.9 percentile. They're too good. I mean, Mrazek's hurt again, but when they have those two goalies, and right now Jack Campbell's playing out of his mind, and he's playing analytically way better than even a top 10 goalie in the league. Like he's playing. I think when I look, Bobrovsky was statistically like Vasilevsky's the best goalie, but right now it was Bobrovsky, Shesterkin. Who else was in that category? Jack Campbell. The goalies that were just playing unreal, and the eye test and the analytics kind of backed them up. Now Vasilevsky will get his game back. Hellebuck will get his game back. I really do believe that. We don't judge a team in November and say they're out of it, you know, this early in the season, unless we're not a fan of Montreal or Chicago hockey. So I look at it and say they'll be in, and then they could draw Tampa in the first round. So it's go time. You can draw Boston in the first round. They play Florida in the first round. They could be wild card 2 and have to flip over and play the Islanders or Carolina or something like that. I do believe they're going to finish second or third. I really do believe that. I think in a perfect world, they finish first and get Boston in a 1-4 matchup, or if they won the conference, get a Philly or a Rangers in a 1 wild card 2 matchup. And if they finish first, that means they're that good a regular season. But whatever they do, it won't matter unless they come out of the first round. If then they play the Rangers, and let's say both teams are good, you know, if they go head to head, is that a pick'em series where the Leafs like favorites? The Leafs have home ice. Let's say it's the Rangers wild card 2. Well, why couldn't the Leafs win the series? And wouldn't you rather play the Rangers than Tampa Bay or Florida or the Islanders or Carolina? So let's say they win the series of 1 versus a wild card 2. Now they've got the mojo. Now the city's rocking. Now they're going and they get Florida or Tampa. Say it's Florida. Tampa loses to Florida. They got Florida.
Yeah.
Well, now they're going. Like, it's not as if Florida's the 77 Montreal Canadiens. Yeah, Florida's good. But then the Leafs would have beat the Rangers, which means that show me. So now it's like 93. Do they beat the Wings? They beat the Blues? Then they got the Kings. or then they get Carolina. So really, it's like a tournament. Yeah, we could win, but we could lose. We do have a good team, but it's not a superstar team. You know, it's about health. It's about all these things. So really, it's a lot of coin flips, I say. Like once you get in, 32 teams turn to 16. After 2 weeks, we're down to 8. I think when you look up and there's 8 left, you can only play one of the 4 in the other conference, and that's at the end. Yeah. So really, it's you and 2 other teams that you hope to eventually beat. So when I break it down like that, the way as a coach, and I taught my friends this, and this is the thing about, you know, and I've never pretended or, you know, maybe a little bit I've acted like I've known more from people, only because I'm self-taught and I've been taught by other people. A hockey game in the NHL is 4 periods. It's 20 minutes till the first TV timeout. The first commercial break is first whistle under 14 that's not icing or a goal. Then from, say there's a whistle at 13:37. Then 13:37 from the first whistle at 10. And then from that whistle till 6. So a period's broken up into 4. So we really play 12 periods. 12 periods.
Yeah.
So when we're playing, you can strategize for, you know, a 0-0 game goes end to end, say Toronto and Montreal, whistles at 12:26. Price is playing great. You look up, commercial break. Well, I'm coming out of this break and I'm going to stack Tavares and Matthews and Marner and everybody else. And then you take that down to under 10 and there's another commercial break. You go to commercial break, you could play them again in theory. I mean, they wouldn't play the whole that, you know, and I learned that from Pat Burns. And back in the day, the home team dictated when you went to commercial. And the story had it was a producer, his name was Mark Askin. He had a buzzer and, you know, the beeper things or, you know, and Pat Burns did. So he would let him know that the next whistle was a commercial. So he'd have Gilmore out before the commercial and after the commercial. So that would dictate playing your best players. So now we know it's uniform. You can't rig the system. You got to know those things to be able to play that. And I think Sheldon Keefe's done a good job of playing that, where surprisingly Mike Babcock did not. So as I taught my friends that, they know, oh, I can go to the bathroom because the next whistle, and then they you know, after 10 years of teaching, now they go like when the whistle went and I got up, where are you going? Commercial, right? And I left. They didn't know that stuff too, and now they seem like and then that's where they think, to a hockey dad that thinks they know, they realize they don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I just listen. I do it. I'm engulfed in it. I've learned from it. I've gone from the school of hard knocks and learning, and hey, I'm obsessed with zone entries. You know, it's in, it's kick out, it's drive, it's fake shot, Royal Row. Watch the Jets; they do it better. And Paul Maurice comes on and says, "Kouleas, I know you love this. I know you love it." He goes, the offensive door, Dad, or the zone entry. That's the candy of hockey. Zone entries, the Gretzky delay, right? The fake shot one-timer. I'm obsessed now 2-on-2. 2 people come in 2-on-2 and they skate like this and shoot. No, it's the drop and drive. It's drop and high. Like Nashville did a 2-on-2 a couple of years ago. 2 right-handed shots. Come in, righty over righty, drop, hide and wide, up, fake shot. Both defensemen stayed. If one defenseman goes now, it's a 1-on-1. Would you rather have a 2-on-2 or a 1-on-1? Both defensemen stayed, wound up, goalie goes down, Royal Road across, one-timer goal. And I clipped that and I said, that's a 2-on-2 in the NHL. Like, watch the Leafs and Matthews overtime winner. You got they're better. I mean, you're teaching the kids that too. The girls are getting it just slower and slower. When Team Canada finally did in, kick out, drive, fake shot, Royal Road, one-timer, and scored a goal, I said, the girls have arrived. And that's at the highest level. But they did that, and you know what I'm talking about. I hope your listeners do. But if you don't, I think there should be some, if I was Hockey Night in Canada or TSN or the league, I would have fun little Peter Puck teaching for terminology and what happened on this play, and have somebody, a cartoon character, do it. Really, not just to teach the kids, to teach even the 55-year-old white males.
That's yelling at the TV, doing this and this and this.
The dad that yells, shoot!
Yeah.
First of all, I only saw shin pads. And then if I hit the shin pads, you'd say, why'd you shoot? You can't have it both ways. So when I take the puck, walk the line, walk, there's still no play, and I bring it back and I throw the Frisbee for a deflection. That's why we don't take slap shots from the point anymore. I'm not inventing this. I'm just stealing it and copying it. And when I've got Rick Tocchet coming on and he gets to say, wow, Cooley, I didn't think of that. Or he doesn't say I didn't know, they know. And I'm not trying to ever say anyone can come up with a good idea. The video coach, Drew Kosher, Steve Kouleas, I'm watching and doing this stuff and I love it and love it. Just so people know and the parents know, it's not me, it's we. And if you play we hockey is winning hockey. And that's a message for you kids in the room. And most importantly, your parents. It's not how many goals your kid scores. It's how many wins the team gets. And when the team wins, you'll get points as well. Apples?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Steve, you're not, you're a smart dude. You're smart. And you mentioned Paul Maurice. That's a guy I love to sit down for an hour and just talk hockey, just to pick his brain. I would throw everything at him, everything in the world. But you're a smart guy. You know the game. And I hear it every day, like I said. I love it. Love listening. Okay. I want to quickly 2 golf questions here. And then we're going to go to a segment called Questions from the Gallery, sponsored by Molson Coors. First, though, do you golf, Steve?
I golf not very well. I just kind of whatever course, hard course, real course, medium course, I always just seem to be the guy who shoots 93, 94, 95. I'm golfing great. I finished with 93, 94, 95. I'm not golfing so well. All of a sudden it's par, bogey, par, 93, 94, 95. One of my best ever rounds, Angus Glen, a PGA Canada course, right? What's it called? The Canadian Royal Canadian Open. You know, they played the Canadian Open there.
Oh, Canadian Open, yeah.
Vijay Singh, you know, drives the par 4 across the lake or whatever. We go around and he drove the lake. And then when the tournament was over, he said, what do you want? He said, I want 24 Molson Canadian is what he said. So it works for you because it's a Molson.
No kidding.
That's good. Yeah, VJ, that's a true story. But I was at Angus Glen. I was on a roll. I went with a guy named Glenn McDonald. We worked together to score. And I was on that roll. And I was hitting the 18th green. And I think I was at the 18th green. And I was at 82, 18th green, Angus Glen, last hole. You know, I'm having that round. And this last hole doesn't go so well. I end up getting on in 6. And then I have like a 23-footer. And I'm amazed. I'm depressed a little. I'm like, I blew this. And Glennie just says, just go for it. It was up, around, turn, whatever. And I do better at the circus putts. I hit it up, went around, do, whatever, boop, through the clown's mouth, by the windmill, boop. At least the 7 was 89. I dropped to my knees like Bjorn Borg at Wimbledon. 89 at Angus Glen. That's my best ever round, but I needed a 7 with a 23.5 one putt to finish with the 89. Glennie and I were dancing on the green, laughing or whatever. And that's a real course. You know what I mean? That's a real course. So that to my day is my favorite 89 Alexander McGillney. Remember I told you the McGillney earlier? So that's my round. That would have been in that score time frame of 07 to 2012. And it was just a lot of fun. So I love it. And to my fellow hockey people out there, I count every shot. I've golfed with guys. They miss the par putt, but they write a 4. So you know what? You want to do that, you deal with the big man upstairs. But when I get a 5, it's a 5. So there you go.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to be honest in that game because otherwise it'll bite you in the ass down the road. All right, Steve, off to our segment called Questions from the Gallery, sponsored by Molson Coors. Coors Seltzer's on a mission helping restore fresh water to Canada's rivers through the Change the Coors Foundation. Enjoy the Coors Seltzer mixer pack with 4 great flavors: black cherry, mango, grapefruit, and lemon lime, and many more. Please drink and drive responsibly all the time. Okay. Ready to rock?
Yep.
Worst interview ever / funniest?
Well, the worst interview ever was Chris Drury, and it was last year. He came on. He was terrible. Didn't want to be there. One word answer. It was almost as if, okay, so what did I say back in the TV days about Chris Drury? And I almost said, okay, Chris, this is the worst interview I've ever done. And so something's wrong here. So what did I do? because it must have been something I did. Because I'd rather ask that now and listen. And if I was really supported by my work, I'm sorry, everyone, we're not, right? You know, there was a great TSN story where I asked Jason Spezza about getting traded from Ottawa, and he answered the interview and he did it. And then Ottawa called one of my bosses and he called me and said, "Why'd you ask him that?" I said, "Because I'm a journalist." They never said don't ask him.
Yeah.
And then he didn't back me up. And I thought, oh, that's how it works. They back you up, whatever. So I would have done it, but I didn't feel that I'm really backed up. And it was terrible. So Chris Drury is the worst interview ever that I've ever done. And the funniest, there's been a lot of funny ones. I mean, a lot of funny ones. Oh boy, funniest interview. Oh boy, I just did a few just recently. I think that my first interview was Shane O'Brien when he came on as a guest, because it was so funny. It led to him being a co-host, and we were talking. Basically, he taught the kids out there how to get laid in warm-up by not wearing your bucket, and by picking out a section and a girl, and then telling the trainer, and if they're still there at the end of the game, to send a note and whatever. So that's the funniest, and it led to Shane working with me, and now he's getting rich on his podcast. So let's say Shane O'Brien, and he's done a great job.
And I love that segment. Weekend at Obi's, is that what it is? Love that segment. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Ultimate foursome on the golf course.
Ultimate foursome. Okay. Everybody does that, then they don't take their friends, and they take people that they don't know. So, you know, my friends, and they know who that, if I left, you know, I only picked 3. I think that you judge a person by who their friends are. And I'm lucky. I got great friends. I got great Scarborough friends I grew up with. I got great Whitby friends and my second family, friends that I met in the business, right? So you know what I mean? Like, you've got all those to sit there and go, let's just golf and pick people's brains. I bring Scotty Bowman because Scotty calls me Kouleas, and I know he listens and he wouldn't come on and say the things that he did. So I'd love to be on with Scotty, and he can tell stories like those. Scotty being on covers me from like 1950 to 2022 in hockey stories and everything else. Foster Hewitt, met him once, obviously passed away. God wanted me to meet him. I met him by accident, a fluke of all flukes. We met, had a conversation, signed an autograph. So I think Scotty Bowman, Foster Hewitt, you know, then you get the broadcasting guy. And then I'm saying, okay, so I need a player. So is it Gordie Howe? Is it Rocket Richard? Is it Wayne Gretzky? Is it Bobby Orr? Is it Connor McDavid? Joe Sakic? There'd be somebody else, but I think I'll take the easy out and just say Wayne. So if it was Foster, Wayne, Scotty, and you only have to say their first names. So it's Kouleas, Foster, Wayne, and Scotty, and everyone who's listening knows who that is. So how about that foursome at Angus Glen, where I'll try to beat my 89.
That's awesome. I love it. Steve, I love how detailed you are. This is awesome. This has been a good podcast today. I love it. I appreciate it. Next one here. I'm gonna start doing what you do with the whole weekend at Obi's here. Is Mike Babcock coaching the NHL this year or in the future?
I got to say this year, no. And I got to say that because of what he is surrounded by is bad, but not career ending, that there'll be a point that someone says he's too good out there. He'll have to eat humble pie. He'll have to take way lesser money and maybe a 3-year deal. If he does all those right things, he's too good not to coach, considering still the coaches who were in the game. There's not 32 better coaches than Mike Babcock. So not this year, but yes, back. He's still too good, too young. And if he eats the humble pie, he returns.
How many goals does Alex Ovechkin score this year? And does he break the record?
Breaks the record because he's going to stay till he does. I don't care if he's 44, 43, 42. He's going to do it. He's a tank. This year's proven that at 36, he's going to age well. And even if he only ends up scoring 30 one year, then 27, then 22, he's going to do it. This year, the number is going to be 52. 52 this year.
I like it. Austin Matthews, how many goals? Over under 40, we'll say.
Over 40, I think it's just feels like he's got 6 and 13 that he's played, but the Leafs have played 16. So it's really 6 and 16. Like, you can't make those games up.
Yeah.
Your pace, his pace is a 40-goal pace. right? It's about half, 13, 6, 7.5. So, and now that it's Nylander, not Marner, Nylander's more of a shooter, that Marner is the playmaker. That's going to be, it just feels if Ovi's at 52 and Draisaitl and Ovi and Matthews are the three leaders, feels like my rangefinder is 51 to 47 for Austin, that he is in that range. So that's the range I'm going to stick with for Austin Matthews.
Who leads the league in goals?
Leon Draisaitl.
Points.
He's got a good start. He's got McDavid. He's feeling it. It's good. The Oilers haven't played those teams yet.
Yeah.
And when they play those other teams, Seattle, the California teams are going to come back to earth. Vegas isn't healthy. They have to play them. Chicago. Draisaitl leads the league in goals. McDavid will lead the league in points.
Okay, I have 3 more for you because I don't want to keep you too long, Steve. I said I appreciate this. Favorite beverage after a round of golf?
Now it's going to be Sapporo beer. Sapporo looks like official podcast sponsor of Cool Button Uncensored Hockey Podcast.
Hey, actually, I'll ask that too. Give yourself a plug there. Yeah, what's Cool and Button, right? Correct. I listen to once in a while.
Cool Button Uncensored Hockey Podcast. We're building. We're moving on up. We're not chiclets and we're not missing curfew. We're not them, and they do a great job at theirs. We're more I don't want to say sophisticated, but we're more X's and O's, doing that stuff, breaking down trades. Craig's got great stories. So everyone needs their niche. That's the niche that I'm in on our podcast.
Awesome. Best part about working in TV or radio?
The camaraderie. It's our dressing room. It's a camaraderie. It's a show. It's a performance. It's a red light. It's the game is on. All those types of things. Sometimes we win. Sometimes we lose. Sometimes we screw up. Sometimes we have a good show. So we go celebrate or we drown our sorrows. So it's a glorified game, just not on the ice. It's on the air.
I also lied. I'm the worst at wrapping up interviews. I just got another one here. Do you ever want to work as a team, play-by-play, or color guy?
Yeah, the play-by-play thing has always been there for me. I think I was in the Oilers mix that led to Jack Michaels, and I think I was part of the final 3. And then they asked me honest questions about, staying there forever or just doing this job. Not that it's just doing the job, and the angel here said, tell the truth. And the devil said, lie. And I talked to Dennis Bayak, and he said, it's up to you. But if you tell the truth, you probably come down a few pegs. Not that I would have got it anyway, but right when I was being interviewed, I got a call from TSN, and that's what led to That's Hockey Tonight. So I was kind of in 2 job situations. So I thought, I think I've got this one anyway. I got my score show coming to TSN. I'm in Edmonton, and I'm going to tell them the truth. And then let's see where it goes. And they respected that I did. Jack Michaels got hired. I was in the mix, which is good. I've done Sabre game before. I've done a lot of play-by-play. It all worked out in the end. It's all there. I was sort of interested in Vegas. I was at Spengler with George McPhee, put out some feelers, and you kind of see. But I think the way it's worked out, it's good. I like to be multidimensional, host shows, talk hockey, radio, television, play-by-play. So I'm not dismissing it, but it's got to be the perfect situation.
Next question, you just brought it up. The Spengler Cup. Walk us through the coat you're wearing and anything good, any good story from there.
Spengler Cup, great experience. Went there 3 years. It's great that beer is cheaper than food. They gave me the jacket after the first year. I was at center ice with the trophy, pictures, the hoopla, everything you see on television when you watch the tournament. It's a bucket list event. You got to get there. And the great thing about the Spengler, again, is we do a game. You walk through the crowd. They're all touching you, taking pictures. They know you. They love you. Kouleas, they say in their Swiss accents. You walk down the street. I'm like the king of Kensington. Great camaraderie. Beautiful area. Great scenery. And I'm not just talking about the mountains. And then we go by the fire at the end of the night. We sit by the fire. I can only have a couple drinks because save the voice. And then we go to bed and we do it all over again. That's the Spengler Cup.
Well, next time you go, you let me know. I'll come on a flight with you. We'll figure it out. We'll link up down there. Last question for you, Steve. Advice for a young listener today, and you've gave a ton of good points today on, what hard work, dedication, and all that, detail. But let's walk through, whether it's to be a broadcaster or an NHL player or a doctor, just some advice for a young listener today, what it takes to make it in, certain fields.
Well, I've been told the world's divided up into kind of three groups: the 10%, the 20%, and the 70. 10% are the elites, some people say gifted or privileged or skilled. It doesn't matter, because whether you are or not, I mean, I'm not a Rockefeller. I didn't come from that background. I'm a B- student. I took, all these courses just to get to Ryerson to improve my average. I couldn't take math and relations and functions. I wouldn't have passed. I wouldn't have got into a real university. So I have passion and skill. I'm just a tradesman, whether it's a plumber, I'm a talker. So 10, 20, 70. The 70% are just the go to work, get up, phone in sick, don't really care. Those are, in hockey terms, is that the American leaguers? Is that the third, fourth liners or whatever? So I throw that out the window. What do you do to be in the 10 and the 20, the movers and shakers, the elite? It's okay to be a second liner if that's the best you can be. The advice I give is someone's always thinking and working and trying. What did you do today to be the doctor, to be the plumber, to be the hockey player, to be the broadcaster? Did you take shots? Did you watch video? Did you work out? Did you eat chocolate and drink beer all day and eat pizza? How's that going to get you to the 10 and the 20? So the advice is someone's always practicing and trying. I'm always practicing. Advice at Ryerson from Dr. Jerry Good, one of my teachers, who said, very competitive. What are you doing to make it? Because there's a lot of people out there that want this, who wants it more, who's put themselves in that position, and who's going to separate themselves from this guy or girl to that guy or girl. And at that point, that motivation was red lights on, it's showtime, and it's go time. I want that piece of meat in the corner. I want that puck. That's the attitude you must have. Or you can be one of the 70 and you can watch us play and listen to us work.
Wow. Unbelievable. Steve, I appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun today. I'll be waiting for tomorrow morning for a nice little shout out off the Hosel on the Sirius XM. But no, I appreciate you coming on. I want to do it again if you don't mind. I had a lot of fun today. Like I said, you're detailed, you're focused, you came here today. You were ready to rock, and I love it. So I appreciate your time. Yeah, Steve Kouleas.
Yeah, just send me this. I want to see it. Make sure I've got it. And shout outs and everything else. Thanks for having me on, Drew.
You betcha. Take care, Steve.